Hey everybody, Bill in Virginia. Welcome to part 4 of the backdrop build for the N-scale layout. Today I'm going to be working on the stream channels here. I'm going to be cutting out just a little bit of material here to make it a little bit deeper because then I can fill it up to the level of the existing stream channel. I'll be using full strength white glue once I get that done, just to kind of put in rock and material there. This area here will be covered up with some sand kind of material and also a few trees planted in to match the other side and some grass tufts. We'll be building this area up here a little bit to kind of act as the stream channel for, or the bank for the stream channel. Here's where that dirt road comes off of the Perina Mills facility. This I'm going to bring in like this and curve it and pinch it off right at the edge of the backdrop. This area is going to be a blocker. This is going to provide some trees and some other material here to kind of hide the road as it goes in. Same thing on this side here, some trees. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of these tree kits. Notice I've cut the materials off the back so that I can put them in. So like right in here on the edge, I can bring one of these out kind of up and over the stream. Same thing with this one, another one. I can kind of put it in here. I can sink the base down, but I can have it on the edge so that it pulls the eye away from the road, more towards the stream, but actually more towards the trees and the vegetation that are going to be on it. So hopefully that will be effective on here. So I'm going to see how I'm going to do that. Then I'm just going to kind of add in some vegetation and materials to kind of fill in this area. I'm going to leave this area still blank. I'm still planning on putting in a building flat or two just in this area here. But I am going to be putting in more vegetation in this area here so I can actually do this. This is the blacktop road coming in. Same thing like on the other side. I'm just going to kind of bring it and pinch it off as it's swinging around. Again, concealed with vegetation. There's going to be the building flat, or two here. Same thing like I did, trees coming in. I'm going to make some three-dimensional on the backdrop for some trees here and along and through here. This area on top, I'm really not going to do much with at all. I might do a very little bit of white glue on a couple of these, and I mean very small amounts, just to add a little bit of texture on those closest to the foreground. Not much. I like the effect the way it is, so nothing along the ridge. Just a little bit in a few of these areas, and I mean just a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to start on the stream and we'll update from there. About an hour later, and I've got some of the basics in. I'm using polyfiber again, just on the edge of this part of the scene. It does not go all the way back, like it does over on that part. This is so that I can close that 1/4 inch gap. I'll have some brush and other things kind of lining it to hide that particular seam, but it still gives me room to add building flats as well as do some of the 3D tree work. I'll just kind of leave that open until I get those buildings and then just kind of see what I want there, but I can at least get the front part of it done. The river scene, I have some of that underway. I've got some of the debris in the channel and also got the foundation for the road put in. How I'm going to finish this is I'm going to take a sheet of wax paper. If you were following along when I was doing the mountain build here a while back, you know that the top of the mountain lifts off, and the way that I made the seam between the two pieces was using wax paper. Well, I'm going to do the same thing on here. I'm going to put a piece of wax paper, just sort of tape it onto the layout, like from here to about here. Just let it kind of go up, and then when this is pressed in place, I'll be able to see the differences that I've got between the backdrop and the layout. And then I can add more material to this to bring it up to a level that I need. I can add more dilute white glue, sprinkle some more material in, just so that it matches up as close to that as I can get it. Won't be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's going to be fairly close. Likewise, with the road in partial position, with the wax paper there, I can then also bring the road up so that there's just a very small seam between the two to kind of hide it. And when I'm down to this point, I will do the same thing with the blacktop road that's coming off. You see I took out a little bit of the foam board to kind of bring it down so that I can do the blacktop piece. Still have to put in some polyfiber on that location, which I'm going to do here in a few minutes. And then I'm going to start doing some trees because I know from roughly this area over, I'm going to add some trees. I'm going to add, a few more trees just on the edge of the riverbank, kind of coming up and over the stream a little bit. So I can do this part of it and I can do that part. So coming up next, well, pretty much done for the evening here. I've got the polyfiber in, glued down, tacked down. Again, made it so that it's more condensed than the ones that are up by the ridge. Don't need to fill much of a gap. I've put in the 50-50 dilute white glue. I've sprinkled a wide variety of scenic materials on top. I've gotten a few trees in a few locations. I've got the road started here. I've got the stream channel in, and then of course what I did yesterday. So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then I'm going to come back in and I'll do some of the three-dimensional work. So I'll do some of the white glue painting in some of these little areas here. Again, I'm going to leave this blank because I'm going to put some building flats there. Add a few more trees in this area here, just some low ones, and then do a little bit of the three-dimensional background work on this area. This area up here, I'm just going to leave. I might do a little touch on a couple of these and just put a little dab of fine turf just to kind of give it a little texture. But that's going to be about it. So, and I'll do the road probably tomorrow. So anyway, I will put this on the layout in the morning, see how it looks, and then go from there. Backdrop is pretty well done to this point. Still have some more to do, obviously. But I've got the wax paper up for the road crossings and the stream bed. Next thing is to put it back on and see how it looks from the other side, and then start blending the two bases together. Well, getting close. So backdrop is back in place again. You can see the wax paper poking up where I've got work yet to do. However, it blends in pretty well. I like my tree line. Can see the paint still behind it. The transition going over into the stream valley is working for me. The part of the valley that's on the right side is actually pretty much at the right elevation. I just need to kind of put in some lighter color sand and stuff on top to blend it in. Other side, I've got to add a little fill to get it up to level, but that's pretty good. What I am going to do is in the space between the ballast and that brush line, it's still kind of a sharp line, which is okay. So on the layout side, I'm going to come in and I'm going to add a line of tufts of grass. So similar to what I did here, I'll just kind of blend it in and kind of mix it along that line, which would make sense for a long straightaway. Now I'm going to start working on the roads and still waiting on some flats to come in. I also did a little bit on the very back of the scenery, which is kind of hard to see, which is okay. I added a little bit of glue and added just a little texture to the foreground trees up on the higher part of the ridge. If you're standing here in person looking at it, you can make it out. It gives it a little depth. On the video, it doesn't do a whole lot. But next piece, I should have the roads pretty well done and the wax paper removed and running some trains on it. And that will wrap it up for this video. All right, now let the glue dry and then do finish work. And I think I have about got it. Definitely have to color match that road there. And let's come down here, and I got my blacktop continuing across. So once it's dry, I can pull the wax paper out, I can smooth it, I can use chalks, I can make everything look good, and then plant some grass. Last clip on this is going to show it pretty much done, with the exception again of the flats and some other minor details. And it is as done as I'm going to make it for a while. So this ends part 4 of this build. I've had a lot of fun doing this. Still got work to do. You know, I'm going to be showing updates on this as I go with other things, but I've got the seam pretty well hidden. You have to be over there looking on it. I've still got detail work. I've got to blend in that asphalt. You know, again, building flats, etc. But it looks pretty decent to my eye. Got that little roadway there. Still have some work to do. You know, glue is firm but not dry. Once it's dry, I'll be able to do some more to kind of hide the seam. Stream bed turned out pretty good. Same thing there. Once everything is dry, I'll be able to hide the seam a little bit more than what it is. But, you know, standing here looking at it from this angle, can't really see it, so that works for me. Bringing it up, and you can see that was in the other videos, and then I've still got work to do over at Alta when I get over to that way. And I will do some practice work on that scrap piece of foam board that I have, and I'll probably add some clouds at some point. But that will be another day. Let's run a few trains and see how it looks.